Hello and welcome to ReginaldESQ. I am on the hook and this is my review of the American T37. It's a light scout tank at tier 6. So is it any good? It's alright. Not bad. So the T37 is a tier 6 scout tank, which means, being a scout tank, it sees tanks up to tier 9, which is of course quite challenging. Now there are 7 tier 6 light tanks. One of them is premium, that's a Chinese Type 64. Now of all those tanks, this one has the most hit points at 680 hit points. The worst is the MT25, the Russian, with 570 hit points. Weight wise, this weighs in around 23-24 ton, which is about average. The heaviest being the German VK2801 at 27 ton, and the lightest being the AMX12T at around 12 to 13 ton. So you can ram other tanks, but just be very careful. It is a scout tank, you don't want to be doing too much ramming anyway. Quoted top speed is 66 kilometers an hour in forward and 22 kilometers an hour in reverse. Now if you've played the Chaffee, which you need to play to get to this tank, that's the tier 5 one, I really liked the Chaffee, and the Chaffee seems positively fast compared to this. The Chaffee is a fast tank, but this feels really slow compared to the Chaffee, even though the top speed isn't that much lower. Well, actually it is. The Chaffee had a top speed of 77, which is super fast, but this tank just takes off slow as well. It doesn't have a great power to weight ratio, and it feels sluggish off the line, which is a bit of a problem because you pretty much need to play this as an active scout, in my opinion. So it is an issue for the tank. The fastest in class is the the MT25 at 72 kilometers an hour, which is slightly slower than the tier 10 Bat Chat. That's a very fast tank, that MT25, very good power to weight ratio. The slowest in class is the T21, I think, at 56 kilometers an hour. Now, track traverse on this tank is 48 degrees a second, which is kind of average. The best is the T21 at 60 degrees a second, and the worst is the AMX12T, I think, at 38 degrees. Turret traverse on this tank is about average as well, at 46 degrees a second. The best being the MT25 at 50, and the worst being the Type 64, which only has 38. Now, the view range on this tank is pretty darn good. It's 385 meters. I think it was 390, but they nerfed it in a recent patch. I think, I could be wrong. So 385 meters is pretty good. So it's got very good view range. And if it was a smaller tank, it would make an excellent passive scout. But because it's so big, its passive scouting abilities aren't too good. Now, the best view range in class is the T21, the VK2801, and the Type 64. They all have 390 meters view range. And the worst is the MT25 with just 370 meters view range. Signal range on this tank at 745 meters is kind of a little less than average actually, but it's still very good and quite adequate. The best in class is the 5916 at 782 meters, and the worst is the Type 64 at just 730 meters. Now, camouflage, well, it's a dog. This has the worst camouflage of any tier 6 light tank, and it's probably comparable to an average medium tank in camouflage. So it's not very good. In a pinch, you can sort of hide behind a bush somewhere at range, but as soon as you fire, you'll probably be discovered. It really doesn't do well. In fact, let me show you this clip of its passive scouting abilities. Well, I did have a clip showing this tank being spotted whilst in a bush with camouflage net activated by a tank that was about 200 meters away and moving, but something went wrong with the replay, so it's corrupted and I can't show it to you. But it happened, really, it did, true. So that really leaves this at being, if you're going to do any scouting, at being an active scout. That is popping up, cresting hills, popping back again, that sort of thing. You really can't stay behind a bush and expect to not get spotted. And also, of course, that makes Sixth Sense an essential perk to have on this tank. Now, the gun depression is very good at 9 degrees of gun depression, so it can hill fight fairly well. However, the turret is huge, and this tank is a big target for a scout tank, when you consider it has no armor to speak of, being a light scout tank. So you can pop over hills and shoot, but the gun is also low on the turret, So you do have to really expose a big turret every time you go to have a shot. So if you've been spotted before you pop over the hill, you're in big trouble. Also, it feels a bit funny. It's almost like you have to pop your whole tank over the hill to shoot people, which I don't know if it's the position on the turret or not, but it feels a bit more like it's like 7 degrees gun depression or something like that. But anyway, it is quite serviceable on hills. So let's have a quick look at the grind for this tank. So we've got the turret. I'm pretty sure to get that turret you have to have the tracks. Now you do have a choice of guns when you get to the top guns. There is an auto-loader version. So the T91 gun here is a 76mm gun, has 18.18 rate of fire, which is very good, has 150 mils of penetration, which is also very good for tier 6, and 115 damage per round. With that rate of fire, this can put out a lot of damage very quickly, and it is a scout tank that can do damage to even up to tier 9 tanks. If you can get the back of a lot of tier 9 tanks, you can still damage them. So if you like scout tanks that you're able to actually not just spot but dish out damage, this is good. And at the moment, especially on the SEA server, actually just scouting doesn't work at the moment. Well, most games it doesn't work, simply because a lot of experienced players have left to go and play World of Warships, or perhaps what's that other tank game? Armored Warfare. And there are a lot of really inexperienced players. I'm noticing that when I'm playing games now, a lot of the time I'm the only player whose name is green. Everyone else is red or orange or sometimes yellow. A blue player is very, very rare. Maybe 1 in 10 games I see a blue player, and a purple player I almost never see now. So it's really what happens is you'll scout for half a game. You'll have half the team lit, and nobody shoots them. In fact, they drive out in the open and get shot by the people that you're spotting. So they don't know what they're doing. So scouting just doesn't seem to work at the moment, unless you have a lucky game. So yeah. Anyway, 0.38 accuracy, 1.9 second aiming time, which is a sensational aiming time. Now, if you go to this gun here, which is the auto-loader version, it has 5 shells. It takes still 2 seconds to load a shell, which is pretty slow, and then it's got a 20-second time to load the magazine, and it has less pen. It only has 137 pen, although it does do the same amount of damage per round, 115. On top of that, the aiming time is reduced down to 2.1 seconds. So for me, I didn't even bother using this gun because I don't want to wait 20 seconds to reload when I can use this gun, which already has a good reload speed and has more penetration and a faster aiming time. I just don't like really long loading times on auto loaders. Yeah. Anyway, I didn't use that gun. Let's have a looky now at. Actually, I just want to talk about a couple of things before we get into Tank Inspector and some gameplay. This tank has some issues. One of them is, yes, you can't really passive scout. I couldn't. Now, bear in mind, I'll go through my crew skills here. My commander has a 6th sense. He's working on Brothers in Arms, but he's not fully qualified, so nobody with Brother in Arms counts on this tank. This guy's 90% snapshot. This guy is 100% off-road driving, and this guy is 90% camouflage. So in the gameplay, all I've got is one person who is still working on camouflage. So if all of my crew had 100% camouflage, maybe it will work as a passive scout. I don't know, because I haven't had that. But I've been in bushes with. I've got a camouflage net. With camouflage net activated, I still get spotted. So as you saw. So yeah. But one of the major problems with this tank is it gets ammo racked all the time. Now, it doesn't explode from getting ammo racked, but the ammo rack gets damaged all the freaking time. So if you get hit, I would say every time you get hit, there's a 50% chance they will hit your ammo rack. And it doesn't matter if it's the front, the side, or the back. You can be ammo racked from any angle in this tank. And it's really annoying because if you're circling another tank, like you're having a circling battle, they hit your ammo rack. You're circling, you're trying to shoot, you're fiddling around with keys trying to repair your ammo rack. By the time you've done that, they might have put another couple of shots into you because you haven't reloaded yet because your ammo rack's damaged. You finally get it repaired, they hit you again and damage your ammo rack again. Don't believe me? Have a look at this. Okay, so I'm going after this comet here. So it's hit my ammo rack and tracked me at the same time. So I'm repairing. I've just used the repair kit.
Enemy armor is hit. We've lost some ammo, but at least it didn't explode.
Ammo rack again.
Vehicle has had it.
And believe it or not, that's happened to me multiple times where I've had my ammo rack done twice just after I've repaired it. So it reminds me of the Lorraine, the French Tier 9 tank. It's turret locked all the time. It's sort of like that, but with this tank it's the ammo rack. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'll tell you what I've got fitted on the tank. So I've got binoculars, camouflage net, and repair kit fitted. Oh no, I haven't. I've got torsion bar suspension, sorry, to help protect the tracks. Now, if I was going to keep this tank, and I don't think I am, if I was going to keep it, I would fit coated optics. I might keep the camouflage net. I probably wouldn't. I'd probably go for, I think you can actually get vertical stabilizers on this, or something like that. I would fit something like that, because passive scouting this tank for me isn't really an option, and I think really you just want, for me, this is to be played like it's a medium tank that has no armor. And I think that's the way it is, to play it like a medium tank with no armor, and it's very quick if you look at it that way. I've already gone through the crew skills. I have small repair kit, large first aid kit fitted. Let's have a look in Tank Inspector. The T37 in Tank Inspector. So let's have a look at the armor. The lower plate you can see here is 32mm thick. It's very well sloped, but so what? It's only 32mm, so it's not going to bounce anything. Upper hull is worse at 25mm. It's not going to bounce anything either. This section here on the front of the turret is 32mm, won't stop anything, and the mantlet is also only 32mm, although it does overlay when you get near the edges, giving you a total of 64mm, which is your best chance of bouncing a shot. That is your thickest armor right there. Now, considering you're seeing tanks anything up to tier 9, good luck with that. You may get a ricochet if you're lucky. You do have a bit of a cupola sticking up here, which is 25mm, but I haven't found anybody bothering to shoot the cupola on this tank. You don't need to. So the front half on the side is 25mm, but the rear side is 19mm. So even splash damage from artillery can do you a lot of damage in this tank. Hopefully you'll be moving and you won't get hit by artillery. 19mm on the rear as well. Top deck of the tank and the turret is 13mm. Effectively, you have zero armor in this tank.
Move out.
So the map is Westfield, and it will just give you a bit of a look at the speed of the tank up the hill. As you can see, acceleration off the line is a little slow, but it does do a good speed though, and up the hill is not too bad at all. We're doing 50s, slowing down a bit now. Now, those of you who've watched my reviews before will know that I'm not a very good driver of light tanks or scout tanks. So, bear with me. And I play fairly conservative in this. I think for a lot of us, a lot of players, you might be like me, if you're in Australia and New Zealand, on this server you have pretty bad ping, over 100, and lag is an issue for me as it is for some other players. So, popping over a hill and shooting usually means you actually end up shooting the hill that you were trying to pop over. So simply because of lag. And in fact, that shot there, it looked like I shot after he'd gone past. That was just lag. I actually led him when I was actually playing the game. So very hard to do quick snapshots and stuff when you've got a bit of lag. So tend to do better in tanks where taking the time to aim doesn't get you killed. Anyway, some other people have come to help. So I did a little bit of initial spotting there at the start, but now I'm going to try and be a bit more conservative and not get killed. I'm going to speed it up a little bit because I don't do much for a while. So I've moved up to 4 times speed. Hopefully that doesn't give you a headache. T37's been spotted again, so I'll slow it down a little bit. I think I just shot into the dirt actually. Back to normal speed again.
Penetration.
And there it looked like I shot directly at him, but I actually led the tank once again. So it's just lag, unfortunately. Going to speed it up to 2 times. So you can see the tank turns very well. It's quite manoeuvrable. And we've got a Black Prince over there. Back to normal speed. I'm just going to pump some shots out there, but then we notice the T-43.
That one bounced.
Looked like it hit his engine deck, but it bounced off. Must have been a really sharp angle. Don't know if that hit. There he is.
Enemy is hit.
Oh,
Enemy
how lucky is that? Set him on fire. He's gone beyond the building. And somebody else finishes him off. So, a bit of a lucky shot there. Now I'm just spraying out a few shots where I thought the Black Prince would be and where it might be hiding, it might be sticking out. Just to put it under a bit of pressure so it feels like it's not safe and it has to move, and hopefully it'll move into a really bad position and someone will nail it. I don't think we're spotting that tank from over here. I think it's being spotted. It's pretty much on the edge of our view range too. Now the other guys have all decided to make a move. I notice. That's okay. They're tier 8s, aren't they? Or tier 7s, tier 8s. And I'm as a tier 6. I'm going to hang back and just see if I can snipe from here. I don't. I'll just get killed very quickly if I drive out there in front of waiting tanks. Our Black Prince is out in the open. Let's see if we can pen it. It does have really good pen this for a light tank. I think it's 150.
critical hit.
But at this range on a Black Prince it's pretty hard.
We didn't even.
I thought we might attract him, but we didn't.
Enemy armor
And that
is
goes in. I
damaged.
think it hit the back of his turret. That might be why. Although, look, I know he's moving backwards, so it must. I don't know how that went. He might have hit his cupola. Might have been a lucky shot. Oop, T20. Just hoping he's just going to show some of his tank. And he was about to show a bit there, but he popped back. He's getting rushed now by the T-43, so he's out in the open. We get a shot into him. And no need to get another shot into him. T-43 takes care of him, but the T-43 gets owned. Oh dear. I'm going to speed up to 2 times again. I'm just waiting here for a while in case whatever killed the T-43 starts coming up this side. So I want to be in a position where I've got the hill. I can back down the hill to shoot, then back down the hill again to protect myself, because if I drive out there and they're coming, they'll just blow me away. RHM across the valley there.
Enemy armor is damaged.
Well, those other shots, if they were hitting it, they weren't damaging it. That one goes in and someone else finishes off. That's great. Alright, so we have 6 tanks. The enemy only has 4 tanks remaining. That was on 2 times, by the way, there. That little bit. I'm sorry. I'll go back to 1 times again. Sorry, I had it on 2 times and I forgot. So if you thought it was reloading really quickly, yeah, it was on 2 times. So now I can see that looks like all the enemy tanks are on the other side of the map. So I'm probably going to be able to just drive up and kill Artie here, provided it's not waiting for me and blows me away. I just stop here for a second in case he's waiting for me, see if I can see him before I bother driving out in the open. But don't see him, so we keep moving. Just trying to drive through the trees and things to stay covered, concealed for as long as possible. I heard the spotting noise go off, but it's not me. I haven't spotted him. I'm getting worried now. I don't know where he is. And whoop, there he is. And he doesn't even bother trying to turn around. I think he's just trying to get another shot in before he dies. Or he might be reloading.
Armor is damaged. Gotcha.
Alright, so now they've only got 2 tanks left. It's going to take me a while to get up there, and I figure probably the most useful thing I can do at the moment is just start capping. Putting pressure on them to try and turn around and come back. In which case we can hopefully shoot them in the back. Or our teammates can. I might go up to 2 times here. Ah, and we kill both of them. That's it. So that was a class 1 badge. I did struggle with this tank. I didn't manage to get mastery and I didn't do well in the tank. Although I did in this particular game end up getting a mark of excellence. So I must have done... Well, I must have been doing better than average, but I still felt like I wasn't really having very good games. Next screen. Ended up 3rd in our team. Did 1,595 damage, which is not bad for a tier 6 in a tier, what was it, 8 game. Yeah, next screen. So 36 shots fired, of which 17 hit. So we did do quite a bit of just blind firing. Of the 17 that hit, 11 penetrated, doing 1,595 damage, and most of that was long range damage except for the artillery at the end. We spotted 4 vehicles, damaged 6, destroyed 1, and 554 assistance damage, which isn't really very much. And yeah, that's about it. You can see here 33,000 income. We didn't take any damage, so we only had the ammunition costs, which are pretty cheap. I only used standard ammunition in it. And we made 29,000 profit, which is not too bad. 1,053 XP was enough for class 1.
Time to roll out.
The map is Siegfried line. We're defending, and it's a tier 8 game. The enemy has about 4 tier 8 tanks, a bunch of tier 7s and a bunch of tier 6s. Now, I'm going to do an active scouting role in this game, so I'm going to push the ridge line and pop over and try and get some early spotting, and then just basically work the ridge line like as if I was a medium tank, for example. Now, at the moment is very... Now, I am not a good scout tank driver. In fact, I'm not a great player either, but as far as scout tanks go, I'm not very good. So take everything I say with a grain of salt. I'm reviewing a tank, I guess, for you. At the moment, though, scouting is very, very difficult, especially on the SEA server, because there are a lot of inexperienced players. I think everyone's either playing World of Warships or maybe they've gone over to Armoured Warfare, but all the experienced players, or most of them, are gone. So I'm popping a ridge line here, trying to get some early spots, so hopefully our artillery can hit it. And the IS-3 wanders up, he hasn't seen me. I've just been spotted now. His turret's a little slow, though. I get a second shot. So you can see what a great gun this is, that I can pen the side of a tier 8 IS-3 heavy tank. That's pretty darn good. Now I'm going to knock this tree over just to give myself a bit more camo when I come up. I decide to have another peek and see if I can see there's a SU-100Y. I put a shot into him, and very silly of me. Of course the IS-3 was looking. I just put 2 shots in him from here and he gets one into my side. At least it didn't take out my ammo rack, which is surprising. But yeah, that's a bummer. Yeah, so I think all the good players, a lot of the good players anyway, are playing something else. Like, my name's Green and I'm not that great. And I think I very rarely see a blue player. Once in a while I see a blue player somewhere. And purple players just basically never see. So, yeah, they're all playing something else. And so, why that's difficult when you're scouting is, I just had a game, I just played a game. I was scouting, I had half the team lit for over 5 minutes. And not only did I only get 40 assistance damage points for the game, but my team was mostly killed by the tanks I had lit up. They just drove out into a field in front of them all and got killed. So you can see here that VK wasn't very good. He just YOLO'd over the hill in a scout tank. And yeah, T37 came over and is now been damaged and going back. So we got some good shots in there. But yeah, so it's really making it hard because you can spot people no one shoots. It's just luck whether they shoot them or not. So really, to get any XP at the moment, you have to do the damage yourself. This tank fortunately has a gun that can do the damage, but if you're stuck with a scout tank that can't damage anything at the moment, it's a really long grind because no one's shooting what you spot. So just popping up there to spot this T37 again, so hopefully somebody else can shoot it. I got spotted as well, proximity spotted. And he's now dead. I didn't want to pop over the hill while I was spotted because it's a bit too dangerous. I've lost too many hit points. I've got a Chi-Ri here. He hasn't taken any damage yet. So now I've got a Panther. The Panther has, what does it have? It has a very rapid firing, very high penetration, accurate gun that doesn't do much damage for a tier 7 medium. It only does about 130 points of damage, I think, a shot. We do about 115. He's probably got a similar rate of fire to us. He has a very strong frontal upper plate, but the sides are really weak. And the turret front's fairly good, but that's about it. So I'm trying to pick him off. I have to be a little bit careful. I've been spotted. I try and put one into his back of his tank there. Probably you would think with .38 accuracy that would have normally gone in, but due to, I think, to my lag, it went into the dirt. Oh, it could have just been bad luck. So now we move up to have a shot, and at the time I wasn't sure if that was the back of his tank or not. It was the front, and I put it into his upper plate, which is basically an impossible penetration for him. That's better. I think that went into the rear side of him. But he manages to get a return shot on us, which I didn't think he would be able to, whereas I was backing down the hill there. That could be lag, but maybe it's just a good shot and I was in the wrong spot. And I'm trying to track him here. I do hit his track, but we don't manage to track him. And I get one, track him that time and do damage. And someone else finishes him off. I was... Yeah. Okay. Anyway, there you go. So only a class 2 game, although the game ended pretty quickly. We pretty much slaughtered them, so if I had had more time I might have been able to do more. But we didn't do too bad. We did some spotting and stuff like that. It was a fun game. Finished about middle of the road, nothing special there. And we fired 13 shots, 10 of which hit, 9 penetrated. We did 948 damage. We received 3 hits, they all penetrated, of course. Enemy vehicle spotted 4, damaging 5, destroying 1, and we did 774 spotting damage. Not a lot, but better than a kick in the head. We, as you see, once again, it is quite a profitable tank. Not too bad there. It's not one you're going to lose money on frequently or anything like that. 817 XP was a class 2. Thank you for watching my review of the T37. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please give a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more reviews, please subscribe to ReginaldESQ. Have fun.